that moment when you're trying to do a recording and then you knock everything that's on your desk off it. It's absolutely terrible. Anyway, first world problems out of the way. This is the matinee sequence and an update for the matinee sequence in the limit release, or the Project R video that I'm doing. I say limit release because it's kind of related, but let me just move the matinee out of the way. So all that you're seeing here is the current matinee sequence. This is about, I'd say, 80 seconds worth of footage here. Let's just make this, oh, just make this bigger. So this is 80 seconds worth of footage, including particle effects and other things, and this is all being rendered in real time. Now obviously I'm not going to show you the contents of this because that would spoil everything, but this is just an update just to show you how complicated it is before I move on to the other related section. So here we've got all these particle effects and all the splines coming off, and I think I remember showing you guys the last time this, but all these splines are things moving. So if it's like missiles or actual like robots or camera arcs, like we can see a camera arc here that's like a pink line that comes around and allows me to pan up there. But the reason why I'm showing this is because last time I had, I think, up to here where I'd shown this arc of, or this path coming down, and what we've gone into now is a sequence where I'm firing off a ton of particle effects to make something impressive happen, and it's just ridiculous. You've got the camera on the left here coming around and having this really big sweeping shot, which is for more than I think about 4 or 5 seconds worth of footage, which, if anybody's not seen it already, the most popular video on this channel for ages was a video called Limit Release, the OVA, and it was a 3D animation that I did back in 2010 and released it in 2012, and that had a lot of shortcut shots, a lot like anime, where you'd see like one side of a character or whatever doing an attack, and then you'd see it from the other character's perspective, so you never saw what was in between. And I wanted to get long shots on this, and I've mentioned it quite a few times, where you see everything going down. So that's more or less what most of these splines are. There's a lot of different ones, like we've got one over here that jumps up into midair and then lands over here, and then we have it going flying off. This orange one that I'm pointing, well, I'm looking at, I'm not pointing at it because the cursor isn't on the screen, but if we go from about up here, you can see this roller coaster ride that happens with this spline. So we start here, we go up, we go along, and then we go down here, and then it kind of doubles around, and then it goes through all these particle effects. So I never would have done something like this before, but I'm slowly perfecting the way that I do my animations, or at least making it a little bit better and more structured, so you can see everything going on. And meanwhile, I've got these nice sweeping cameras that are panning around. I've not got too many camera shots at the moment, which is good. I think in total I'm using about between 8 and 13 cameras, and that's not too bad considering the shots that I'm getting compared to the older video that I did. So I've got like a lot of dynamic sweeping shots and shots showing things moving around in a lot more fluid motion, so you get the sense of speed and scale, and it's just really cool. Sometimes you don't see what's on screen, but what you don't see isn't really important at the time. So like with this fight sequence here, just as an idea, I've got this camera, I'm going to try and emulate it with the other camera here. So we have one character landing in this section, and the impact happens when this particle effect here is played, and then the character comes back here, and another camera is then played from this angle, which comes out, comes round here, showing these characters fight, and then the character then comes around here, and this camera is sweeping at the same time all the way around here up until about this point. Then we switch to another camera angle just to get a little bit of a close-up, and this character is actually fighting at the same time, boosting all along here. There's all these particle effects flying off, and there's another character in the background shooting at this character. So all these particle effects that you see here are like ricochet effects. It's crazy the amount of stuff that I'm firing here, but it's very similar to the original video that I did, because I did a lot of effects that were like this, where you'd have like bullets pinging off everything and you had to show those sort of sparks flying up in midair, but at the same time it's one entire sequence. The other one that I did was like multiple different short scenes that were stitched together. This is one giant scene that just plays out, so I'm really enjoying this at the moment. But then after this, we've got the final section, which is the Unreal block out that I'm doing at the moment, and this is for blade clashing. Blade clashing, or like sword fighting, is something that I've tried to do for a while, and I'm still trying to get it down. But the idea is that the two characters lock blades and then spin off a little bit, like in Zone of the Enders. Now, I tried doing actual physical clashes themselves, like lightsabers, but it didn't really work out too well animation-wise, and I think I was more or less going a little bit overboard, thinking of the directions that people would fly off in if they clashed, so instead I've simplified it a little bit. Now, what we're seeing here is two characters that I've individually animated, which are prototyped by these, what they call biped skeletons on the left and right, which I'm highlighting respectively for the moment. And then underneath, what I've done to prototype the movement, or what I want, is I've attached them both to these cubes, so that those cubes move inwards and then outwards again when I want them to react, based on the timeline at the bottom here that I can scrub through. And then the pink box at the bottom is another placeholder, and all it does is rotate. So we've got one thing that rotates, another two things that move and are linked to the object that rotates to simulate that movement, and then we've got the two rigged animations. And the idea is that I'm going to be able to simulate this and put it all in Unreal Engine. So when we scrub through this, let's just do a quick preview here. Let's go boom. Now the idea is that, apart from me doing silly sound effects to kind of emulate when the clash is going to be in there, when we scrub back through this again, I'm going to have more blade clashes, so we're going to keep on seeing the characters go in and close in on each other and slice at each other in different ways. But for now, this is just the beginning of it, because I like trying to prototype things before I put them into Engine and then see what they're like animated. But as you can see, we're slowly scrubbing through here, and the idea is I wanted one to be stylized and one to be simple. So the one on the left with the two boxes on its arms, that has a more stylized approach where it comes in quite fast and does this large sweeping motion, and the other one just does a standard attack. And the idea is that then they don't exactly connect, they just force each other away or repel each other. So as you can see, the one on the left is starting out, comes in and then spins around, because I wanted to do this kind of cool sweeping motion. The idea is that the momentum mixed with the effect will create this look that makes it look as though there's a lot of effort going into spinning around. Meanwhile, the other one's already blading. And then what happens is when they join here, they get forced away again incredibly quickly, as if both of the blades have just contacted each other, and then they spin round to kind of get ready to go back in at each other again. The idea is that I want to try and move them at right angles, or at least at the beginning to make it easy on myself, move them at right angles, and then after I've done that, then I can change where they're going to end up in the engine. The idea is to have like maybe 3 blade clashes here, where it's like bang, 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 and then the last one is the one where they get forced away a little bit further, and then they resume ranged combat for a little bit more. When you take out all the stuff that I did in the original video, like the briefing and the credits, I think I have about 9 minutes worth of fight footage, which is ridiculously hard to do, and the only way I pulled it off was by including bits of like filler in between where I was trying to sort of animate realistic movement. Now instead I want this to be just one fight scene, so I might end up with about, I'm going to say maybe 3 to 4 minutes, 5 minutes at most. That's what I'm expecting at the moment, because when you see a lot of like intense fight scenes, they don't last for very long. And even though it's going to be less, it's going to be a lot higher quality. It's already looking better than the previous one, which is fantastic. I just wished I could have done more stuff like this, but I don't have the resources to, so this is the only animation I can do, but at least I'm going to go out with a bang. So yeah, that's my update for this. I'm really enjoying it at the moment. I'm trying to make it as best as I can visually and animation wise. So I'll see you guys next time. If you have any comments or feedback, leave them in the comments section and I'll read through them. Anyway, I'll see you in the next update. Bye.